August feels like the garden is winding down. The tomatoes are heavy on the vine, the squash has taken over half the yard, and most gardeners are starting to mentally check out for the season. That is the biggest mistake you can make. Because right now in August, there is a window, a narrow, specific, almost secret window that experienced gardeners quietly take advantage of every single year. And the gardeners who miss it spend the entire fall and winter wishing they had not. Today we are going over the 5 seeds you absolutely must start in August, not September, not next spring. August. And if you stay until the end, I am going to tell you something about seed number 5 that most gardening channels will never tell you. Because honestly, they do not want to look like they missed it themselves. Before we go any further, if you want content like this every single week, content that actually respects your time and gets straight to what matters, hit that subscribe button right now. It is free. It takes 2 seconds and you will not regret it. Now let us get into it. Here is what most people do not understand about August planting. Your soil is warm, not spring warm. Not that cold, reluctant, barely above 50-degree spring soil that makes seeds sit there and do absolutely nothing for 3 weeks. Your August soil is deeply, thoroughly warm from an entire summer of sun. Seeds go into that soil and they wake up fast. They germinate in days, not weeks. At the same time, the air temperature is starting to slowly drop. Not cold yet, just enough to ease the stress off plants that prefer cooler growing conditions. You get this perfect combination of warm soil and cooling air, and that combination is like a green light for certain crops. The question is, do you know which crops those are? Most people do not, and that is not their fault. Most gardening advice is written for spring. August planting is the forgotten chapter of the gardening calendar, but not today. Seed number 1 is kale. Now, before you scroll past or check your phone, stick with me for just a moment, because I am not talking about the sad, bitter, tough kale you had in a salad once and decided you hated. I am talking about August-started kale that goes through a frost. Kale that has been kissed by cold. When kale experiences frost, something happens inside the plant. The cold triggers the plant to convert its starches into sugars. It is a survival mechanism. The plant is trying to protect itself from freezing, and the result is a leaf that is tender, slightly sweet, and nothing like what you find in a grocery store. But here is the thing. That transformation only happens if the plant has had enough time to grow and mature before the frost hits. If you wait until September to start kale, you are going to get small, underdeveloped plants that have not had enough time to build up those starches. The frost comes, and instead of a sweet, frost-kissed harvest, you get wilted little plants that never had a chance. August planting gives kale the runway it needs. You are looking at roughly 55 to 65 days to maturity for most kale varieties. Started in early to mid-August, and your plants will be full and robust by the time October frosts arrive. Direct sow your kale seeds 1/4 inch deep. Space them about 18 inches apart if you want big plants. Or you can sow them closer and thin as you go, using the thinnings as baby greens. Either way works. Water them in, and within 5 to 7 days, you will see those first little seedlings pushing up. And here is something worth knowing. Kale does not just survive fall and winter. In many parts of the country, it absolutely thrives. In zones 7 through 9, August-started kale can give you a harvest that runs clear through February. That is 7 months of fresh greens from one planting in August. If you have never experienced a fall kale harvest, you are leaving something genuinely good on the table. And that is not an exaggeration. We are just getting started. Seed number 2 is one that almost nobody thinks to start this time of year, and it is going to completely change how you use your garden space in the fall. Keep watching. Seed number 2 is spinach. Spinach is a cool, season crop that most people start in spring and then completely forget about for the rest of the year. And that is a genuine loss, because fall spinach is in many ways better than spring spinach. Here is why. When you plant spinach in spring, you are racing against the heat. Spinach bolts when temperatures climb. It sends up a seed stalk. The leaves turn bitter, and the whole plant becomes useless almost overnight. Spring spinach gives you a narrow window, sometimes only 2 or 3 weeks of good harvesting before the heat shuts it down. Fall spinach does not have that problem. You are starting in heat, yes, but the days are getting shorter and cooler, not longer and hotter. The plant has the whole fall ahead of it. It does not feel that urgency to reproduce that spring heat triggers. So it just keeps growing and producing leaves for weeks and weeks. Now, spinach in August needs a little help getting started. The seeds can struggle to germinate in very hot soil. There are a few things you can do about this. First, pre-sprout your seeds. Put them in a damp paper towel, fold it up, slip it into a plastic bag, and put it in the refrigerator for about a week. This process actually breaks dormancy and tricks the seeds into thinking they went through a cold period. After a week, you will see little white roots emerging. Sow those pre-sprouted seeds directly into the garden. Second, shade your seed bed. A simple piece of row cover, or even a board laid over the soil for a few days, can drop the soil temperature enough to get better germination. Once the seedlings emerge, remove the cover. Spinach varieties that do particularly well for fall planting include Bloomsdale Longstanding, which is an heirloom variety with heavily crinkled leaves and excellent cold tolerance, and Space Hybrid, which is a smooth leaf variety that stays tender even as it matures. Sow your spinach seeds about half an inch deep and about 2 inches apart. As they grow, thin them to about 6 inches. The thinnings are edible, nothing goes to waste. With a short growing season of 40 to 50 days, August planted spinach can be harvested in October. And if you cover it with a simple, low tunnel or cold frame, you can extend that harvest well into December. Now, seeds 1 and 2 are the ones most experienced gardeners know about. Seed number 3 is where things start to get really interesting. This one surprises people every single time. Stay with me. Seed number 3 is beets. Beets are one of the most underestimated crops in the American garden. And when it comes to August planting, they are genuinely one of the best choices you can make. Here is what beets give you that most people do not realize. They give you 2 crops in one. The roots, yes, but also the greens. Beet greens are nutritious, tender, and delicious when sautéed with a little garlic and olive oil. When you are growing beets, you are essentially growing 2 vegetables at the same time. And in a fall garden where space is limited, that kind of efficiency matters. Beets also have a remarkable tolerance for the cold. A mature beet can handle temperatures down into the mid-20s when the roots are mulched. They do not just survive cold, they get sweeter in it, just like kale. The same starch-to-sugar conversion happens in beets. A beet that goes through several frosts before harvest has a depth of sweetness that a summer-grown beet simply does not have. But to get there, you need time. Most beet varieties take 55 to 70 days to reach full root maturity. Plant in late July or early August, and you are positioned perfectly for an October to November harvest. Wait until September, and your roots will still be small when hard freezes arrive. Now, something important about beet seeds. What you see in a seed packet labeled as one beet seed is actually a cluster of seeds. Each one of those little cork-like pellets contains 2 to 4 actual seeds. This is why you always need to thin beets. If you do not thin them, the roots crowd each other and none of them develop properly. Sow beet seeds about half an inch deep and about 3 to 4 inches apart. Once the seedlings are a few inches tall, thin them to about 4 to 6 inches. Use the thinnings in salads. They are wonderful. Detroit Dark Red is a classic open-pollinated variety that performs beautifully in fall gardens. Chioggia beets, which have those famous candy stripe interiors, are another excellent choice. And if you want something different, bull's blood has leaves that are a deep burgundy red, making it one of the more beautiful plants in the fall garden. Real quick, if you are finding this useful, and I mean genuinely useful information that is changing how you think about your garden, the simplest thing you can do right now is hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it actually does matter for getting this information in front of other gardeners who need it. You know how it feels to learn something that changes your results. Pass that forward. Hit like. Now, seed number 4 is radishes, but not the radishes you are thinking of. Most people think of the small, round, red radishes you see in grocery stores. Those spring radishes mature in 25 to 30 days and bolt quickly in heat. Those are not what we are talking about here. We are talking about daikon radishes and other large winter radishes. These are a completely different experience. Daikon radishes can grow 18 inches long and 2 inches thick. They are mild, crunchy, and versatile in the kitchen. You can eat them raw, roasted, fermented, or pickled. But in the garden, they do something that goes beyond just being food. Daikon radishes are sometimes called tillage radishes or groundbreaker radishes for a reason. Those massive roots drive deep into the soil, breaking up compaction, pulling up nutrients from deep in the soil profile. And when they decompose in winter, they leave behind channels that dramatically improve soil drainage and aeration. If you have compacted or heavy clay soil, a cover planting of daikon radishes in August is one of the best things you can do for your garden long term, even if you never eat a single one. But you should eat them because they are genuinely good. Sow daikon seeds about half an inch deep and 6 in apart in rows about foot apart. They need loose, deep soil to develop properly. If your soil is heavily compacted, consider loosening it with a fork to at least 12 in deep before planting. Daikon takes about 60 days to reach full size. Start in early August and you will be harvesting before Halloween. Beyond daikon, watermelon radishes are another spectacular August to fall crop. The outside is pale green, completely unremarkable. But when you slice one open, the interior is a brilliant magenta pink that almost looks artificial. They take about 60 to 70 days and they are visually one of the most striking vegetables you can grow. August planted radishes are fast. They improve your soil and they bring something genuinely interesting to your fall harvest table. We have covered 4 seeds and they are all good choices, real, practical, proven options for your August garden. But seed number 5 is the one I promised you at the beginning, the one most channels miss. We are almost there. Stay with me. Seed number 5 is garlic. And yes, garlic is technically a clove you plant, not a seed in the traditional sense, but it behaves exactly like a seed when you put it in the ground. And it belongs on this list because it is the most powerful, most rewarding August planting decision you can make. Here is what most people do not know. Most gardening content tells you to plant garlic in October or November. And that is not wrong, but there is a subset of garlic varieties that actually benefits from an August planting. Specifically, soft-neck varieties in warmer climates, zone 7 and above, can be planted as early as late August to early September and thrive. But even more importantly, August is when you need to be sourcing and acquiring your garlic seed stock. If you wait until October to think about garlic, you will find that the best seed garlic varieties are already sold out. Every single year, without exception, the good stuff disappears fast. The gardeners who plan ahead in August are the ones who get to plant music, chestnut red, and enchelium red. The gardeners who wait are left choosing from whatever is left. Garlic planted in late August or September in zone 7 and warmer goes into the ground, sends out roots, establishes itself, and sometimes even sends up a little green shoot before winter arrives. That early root establishment means come spring, the plant has a tremendous head start. The bulbs that result from early planted garlic are often noticeably larger than those planted later. Plant garlic cloves pointy and up about 2 in deep and 6 in apart. Mulch heavily after planting. In warmer zones, that mulch helps moderate soil temperature through the mild winter. The harvest comes next June or July. That is 10 to 11 months away, and I want you to sit with that for a moment. You are planting something in August that you will harvest in June. That is patience. That is faith in the process. That is exactly what experienced gardeners do. They think in seasons, not days. Garlic in August is a message you are sending to your future self, and your future self will be grateful. Here is the truth about August gardening that I want you to carry with you. Every great garden is built by someone who refused to stop paying attention when it got easy to stop. Summer is beautiful and busy and full of harvests, and it is so easy to coast. To say, I will pick it back up next spring. But the gardeners who plant in August are different. They know that the ground does not rest just because the season is shifting. They know that right now, this very week, there are seeds that want to go into that warm soil, and they put them there. That could be you. That is going to be you because you watched this video all the way through, which means you are not the kind of person who coasts. Now I need to be straight with you for a second. You just spent about 14 minutes with this content. If it gave you even one idea you are going to use in your garden, You owe it to yourself to share this video with someone else who gardens. Not because I am asking for a favor, but because there is someone in your life, maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe someone in your gardening group who is about to miss this August window because nobody told them. You can be the one who tells them. Share this video. And if you have been watching and you have not liked it yet, there is really no good reason not to. It genuinely helps this content and reach people who will benefit from it. You already watched it, one tap, that is all. For those of you who want to go a step further, there is a link in the description where you can support this channel directly. This kind of content takes real time and real work to put together. If it has been worth anything to you, even a small contribution goes a long way and keeps more content like this coming. The link is there. No pressure. But if you have ever thought about supporting independent gardening content, this is the place. Go plant something. Your August garden is waiting, and I will see you in the next one. If this story changed how you view the potential of your late summer garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the gardening secrets that often get overlooked. Let's grow the future together. The next harvest of knowledge will be ready soon.